Welcome back to the Voices of Women Summit, where in honor of International Women's Day 2023, we are raising the voices of hundreds of women so that their messages can be heard. Your host for this session is Ilana Poca. Ilana is the queen of inner peace and abundance. She is an international best-selling author, owner and creator of Truth Be Told and Mental Illness Refined. She has another amazing guest coming right up. Take it away, Ilana.
Well, hello. We're so excited to be here with you today for the Voices of Women. We have another exciting guest coming up right now. Kendria is going to be telling us about, what she does in this wonderful world for Voices of Women.
Yes.
Kendria,
Hello.
tell us, what brought you here? What got you into this work?
Well, first, I want to say thank you so much for having me today, and thank you so much for allowing me to come on your stage. I am here from the great country of United Arab Emirates, where I live. I've been a resident here for about the last 8 years. I'm a teacher by day and a teacher coach at night. So I have two passions going on right now. And I am here to talk about, how value and worth are basically the most important commodities that we all own. I'm here to talk about why this is subject and why this title always speaks to me. I've spoken on dozens of stages. I've been promoting my book for the last year now. So this topic keeps coming up in my spirit. So I wanted to share it as a part of the International Women's Day. As a woman myself, and as a businesswoman and an entrepreneur and a teacher and a mother and all the great things and all the titles that we hold, I wanted to share with the audience today why your value is not negotiable. So that's just a little bit about me.
Wonderful. Yeah. I think that, sometimes people think that they have a good self-esteem or,
Yes.
However, do they really feel worthy of certain things
Exactly.
or that they have value,
Yeah.
that they make a contribution to the world. A lot of
Mhm.
people are just, kind of on default and
Yeah.
just walking and going through life, based on their circumstances and not. So tell us, teacher by day and teacher by coach by night. You're just
Yeah.
your whole life is filled with it. So how do you connect to this work? What brought you, personally, what connected you to want to, to teach people this?
It started for me, halfway in my career. I've been a teacher now for 22 years, and halfway through my career, I did hit that wall of burnout that a lot of teachers experience these days. And I just hit that wall where I didn't know what to do with the rest of my life. Is this really what I want? We ask ourselves those questions on a daily basis sometimes. Is this really what I want? Is this, this is a job that I used to love. Why don't I love it anymore? We lose that passion. So I'd like to take the audience through a quick exercise, if I could, and ask the audience to basically close their eyes. This will be 30 seconds, I promise, really quickly. For 30 seconds, I want you to be thinking about 3 things that you find important. What are your priorities in life? Think of 3 things that you hold dear, that you wake up in the morning. This is what you do this work for. Why are you getting up in the morning? What is important to you? Just 3 things really quickly. You don't have to write them down. I just want you to hold them in your mind. And I'm going to count you down now. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, whatever it is that you're holding in your mind, those are your priorities. Those are your values. That's a part of your value system. The core of who you are starts there. Now, for me in my career, my journey started a good, I would say 9.5 years ago. I almost remember the exact date and time, if I can be permitted to tell this part of my story. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So my journey started about 9.5 years ago. I remember it being an April day, beautiful April day, spring day. And I had gone through 7 classes straight without eating. My meal that day consisted of, chips and a soda. Now, how many of you know that as a school teacher, that is not the breakfast of champions, okay? That's not the lunch of champions. That is not even the snack of champions. But that is what I had today, and I had gone through 7 classes, and it was 3:40 on the dot. Classes were about to be dismissed at 3:45, and I am starving. So I'm going to leave and pack up with the kids so I can go really quickly and go grab something to eat, because I got to be back at school at 4:30 for, coaching. I coach after school. So I am starving. And so the bell rings, I grab my purse, I run out of the door with the kids, and that's when I feel it. I felt it. My started to get hot. My eyes started to kind of go, swirly a little bit. I'm feeling a little dizzy, and I know what's about to happen. And all I kept thinking was, if I could just get to my car, I can just get to my car. I could just get to my car, and bam, I hit the ground. I fainted. I passed out. And as if anybody's ever passed out before, I've ever fainted before, it feels like you've been out for, hours, but it's really only been a few seconds. Your body is trying to readjust, the blood is rushing to your head, so on and so forth. And I hit the concrete. Now I'm conscious, but I'm not conscious. I'm semi-conscious. So if you've ever passed out, if you've ever fainted, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Where you're awake, you know what's going on, but your eyes are still closed and you're kind of knowing what's happening. So I feel a hand on my left. It's Miss Lewis. Miss Lewis is saying, Miss Johnson, are you okay? Are you okay? Give her some air. Give her some air. Somebody get her some water. I can hear this going on, but I'm still not fully in my right mind, right? I'm still semi-conscious. Then I feel another hand on my right, and it's Miss King. Miss King is saying, Miss Johnson, if you can hear me, squeeze my hand. And as far as I know, I'm squeezing her hand, but I don't really know because I'm not fully conscious yet. And I still feel hot, and I still feel nauseated. I feel like, my blood is just boiling at this point. Then I hear a third voice. Now this third voice is as loud as you can think. I can't even give you the decibel of how loud this voice is, because she is speaking through a megaphone. She is the principal, and she is yelling, "What's happening over there? What is going on over there?" through the megaphone. And we're going to call her Miss Booyah. Okay, that's the principal. We're going to call her Miss Booyah. You're probably thinking, why you call her Miss Booyah? I'll tell you in just a second. I'm so glad you asked me that. Now, Miss Booyah is 6 feet without heels. She has hazel eyes and straight brown hair. And she really doesn't need a megaphone, but she's using it anyway. She loves to be, bully the kids and make them get in class with it. So she uses that quite often. And we call her Miss Booyah because, she's not known for being nice, and she's not known for being pleasant, but everything she said, she's like, "Booyah." Yes, I'm gonna fire you today, Miss Johnson. Booyah. Yeah, I saw you were late today, Miss Johnson. Booyah. That's $5. That's $5 for being late. She loves that saying, so that's why we're going to call her that. And she is on the megaphone. And as soon as she starts screaming on the megaphone, my eyes pop open. What's happening over there? What's going on over there? Miss King, what's happening? Who is that over there? Who is that? Can she get up? Can she get up? And I hear Miss Lewis say, "We're trying. Can you give us a minute? We are trying to get her up. Miss Johnson, can you get up? Can you get up?" I try to get up. I'm still dizzy. My head is still rushing. I'm sweating profusely. I'm not in the right state of mind still. They're trying to give me water. I can't hold the water because my hands are shaking so bad. And Miss Booyah is still yelling. She's still screaming. I need these teachers to get to their bus duty. Okay, now get up off the floor. She looks like she all right. Get up, get up. Come on, Miss Johnson, we got to go. It was in that moment that I realized that these people don't value me. They're basically, just basically saying, "Could you hurry up and die so we can go ahead and get these kids on the bus?" Her whole priority that day was, I don't care what's going on with you. We need to take care of these kids. And that's the story of most teachers. Most people in education don't do it because, we love the pay. We don't do it because we love the lack of respect. We do it because we love the kids. And that's how they get you. And in that moment, I realized that these people they don't respect me as a human being. Never mind the fact that I could have been having a stroke, that I could have been having a heart attack, that I could have had a concussion, falling dead on the floor, on the ground. No, none of that matters. Step over her so we can get to these kids. And so it was in that moment, and I'm gonna digress because there's a lot of other things that went on before this, but that was the moment I decided that I have to do something different. because in this situation, in this politics, in this game of education, teachers should matter as well as the students. And I wasn't feeling valued in that space. I wasn't feeling like I was respected in that space. And I had to do some serious soul searching after I passed out at work. I took 3 days off and I did what I'm supposed to do, which is take care of myself. I went to the doctor to find out what was the fainting spells about. I got the medicine I needed and I started to make some changes. Okay, repeat after me if you're in the audience. Repeat after me. There is got to be a better way, and I'm going to find it. And in that space where I was like, no, I'm not going to, I cannot sacrifice my mental health, my physical health, my spiritual health to come in here every day and to be with these students. I can't do that. There's got to be a better way, and I'm going to find it. So it was then that I decided that I was going to go ahead and accept the contract to work overseas, because I wanted to be in a space where my values and my priorities are being respected. Now, as women, as we know, this is International Women's Day, as women, we tend to give and give and give and give, and we have nothing left for ourselves. And that was my aha moment. And as much as I dislike Miss Booyah as my principal and the way she handled my situation, I couldn't blame her. I had to ask myself the hard questions. How did I get here? How did I get in a space where I'm not taking care of myself? I'm not eating right. I'm not sleeping right. That wasn't the only time that I had fainted. So this is becoming a habit. I got to do something, right? And so I started to check in with myself. I started to write lists for myself. I started to prioritize me. I started to find the value in who I was. All those nights I was given to that school, and all the days I would come in early and go through my lunch and work for free. And that coaching job that I was doing that for free. No one's paying me to do that. I chose to do that. Those things have to end. If no one's going to value me, if you're going to walk over my dead body so you can get, no. Miss Johnson comes first now. So that's just a little bit about my story and how because people always ask me, how did you end up overseas? How did you end up overseas? How did you go from Texas to, Dubai or, Abu Dhabi, where I live? And that was the defining moment for me. That little incident, me passing out at work, changed everything for me. And that's just a little bit about my background.
Okay. And so I really want to point out, I mean, a powerful story. And yes, Mrs. Booyah could have, done different things. However, you wouldn't have learned the lesson then.
Yeah.
Right. And so you had this realization, and then you made a different choice. Mm-hmm. That's what it was, right? Because you, like, this had happened to you before. And, it was this time that you had finally, realized I'm sacrificing myself. Mm-hmm. Right.
Exactly.
And so then, making that different choice, sets us up on a totally different life. And now look at you, you're in another country and you're, things are different for you. Yes. So, so tell us a little bit more about what you teach people and what you people.
I'd like to take the audience through some just a quick activity, because this is what I do in my workshops. This is what I do with teachers, to get them to focus on certain things. And I think we've all heard that saying, know your worth, know your value. But what does that really mean? You know how many times I've talked to people and they can't, just like that 30-second, they can't tell you 3 things that they prioritize. They don't know yet. So sometimes it's helpful to write these things down. So I'm going to take the audience through a quick activity really fast. If you have pen and paper, if you do, I'd like for you to get a pen. You can do it on a sticky note on the back of an envelope, or try not to do it on the back of your hand, but if you have to, you have to. But if you could write down for me a square, I want you to make a square, not very big, doesn't have to be big at all. I want you to make me a square. And in that square, I want you to make 4 little squares. That means you're going to put a T in the middle of your square. Okay, so you have 4 squares there. In those 4 squares, I'm going to have you write down 4 things. And if you don't have time to do this, I beg of you to do it later at your own convenience, but this is very important. I want you to write down for me in 1 square, struggle and pain. I want those 2 words in there together. You're saying, well, what does they have to do with each other? Oh, I don't know about you, but when I struggle, I'm in pain. And when I pain, it's a struggle. When I'm in pain, I'm a struggle. So they go together, struggle and pain. Put those in one of those squares for me. And then the second square, and you can put these anywhere you want. You can put them, diagonal, up and down, cross, it doesn't matter. Just put them in a square. The second square, I want you to put time, Time. Now, why is time in there? Time is the only commodity in life that we do not get more of. You do not get to recycle time. It is a non-renewable resource. I think we know that. We all get the same amount, but what we do with it is our choice. Okay, so time is one of your squares. The third square I want you to put in, peace. Peace. Ooh, one of my favorite words. Peace that surpasses all understanding. That word peace is very valuable because once you find it, you don't want to lose it. And once you find it, you will protect it with all you have. Okay, so we have those three. The last square, I want you to put freedom. Freedom. Okay, well, you're saying, well, I'm not a slave to my job. I'm not a slave to this. I'm not. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Let that phone ring right now and it's somebody important. You think you're free until that phone rings or something you need comes up and you know what what's your priorities really quickly. So for me, freedom means, like being on this program. If they were giving me a list of things that they want me to talk about, or if they told me that I couldn't wear my hair like this, or if they told me my earrings are too big, that's not freedom to me. I should be free to do what I want, to express myself. Those things are important to me. That's why it's in one of my squares. Now, if you've done those 4 squares, the next thing I want you to do is I want you to prioritize every single one of those things from 1 to 4. That means 1 is the most important thing to you of those 4, and 4 is the least important of the 4. Okay, so that means 1 square has each number. That means there's no 1, 1, 1, 1. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 in the order that you think that are more important to you. So some people might think time, some people might say, peace, some other people might say freedom. Whichever one is more important to you, go ahead and put those numbers there for me. Now, for me, these are my values. These are my personal values. It took years for me to get to the place where I was comfortable sharing that with anyone. But once you decide what's important, so for me, number 1, time. Time is the most important thing on my list because I don't have time to struggle. And anything that brings me pain has to go. And anything that causes me struggle has to go. I don't have time for things that don't bring me peace. Anything that messes with my spirit, keeps me up at night. If it's a relationship, a job, a spouse, a child, anything that doesn't bring me peace gets cut off the list. Okay, and the last one, freedom. Anything that impedes on my free will. Yeah, I don't have time for that either. I have no time for those things. Now, it took me years, like I said, to come up with that list, because what you will find really quickly once you do this exercise for yourself at home, I'm going to challenge the audience to have your own 4 squares after you've heard me speak today. I challenge you by the end of the day to have your own set of priorities and own set of values, and you put what you want in those squares. But as I was saying was that once you have these things in place, they will always be tested. I find myself at least once a week saying, I don't have time for that. No, I did that last week. I don't have time for that this week. No, and no. No is a complete sentence in case you didn't know. And so I find myself always having to reestablish my values, giving my boundaries, saying, okay, I will do this and I will do this, but I will not do that. And you will find that, and this is important, if you don't have a vision for your own values, if you don't have a vision, ladies, for your own values, the world will impede theirs on you. They will impose their value system on you. Now, Miss Booyah is a good representation of that. She represents the world. She really does. The world says to you, listen, get over it. Okay, because it's going to keep spinning whether you're okay or not. So you have to decide what's important to you. You have to decide. I came all the way from Abu Dhabi to be with you ladies tonight just to share with you that you are important, that you are made for something greater than what you are doing with your life. If you are not living your absolute greatest life, you need to get with yourself and prioritize your health, prioritize what you believe, prioritize your morals, prioritize your system. Get that in place now, because the world is constantly testing us and pushing those boundaries and saying things like, well, you only have 2 kids. You don't mind coming in on Saturday, do you? Yes, I do. If I have 0 kids, I don't want to spend my Saturday with you because my time is important. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. You want to tell us about your VIP gift and the title of your VIP gift?
yes, my VIP gift is audio copy of my book, Teacher of the Year.
Oops, I messed that up. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be your free downloadable first.
Oh, my free download first. It should be a copy of my masterclass, which talks about what I do as a coach, what I do as a teacher. It highlights my program, and it gives you more of my story. There's just a little bit of my story earlier, but it gives you a little bit more of my story and what I do for teachers.
Okay, so that's the
Yes.
free downloadable, and the tech host will be putting the link in the chat. There it is. And so if you can let us know if the link is working, if you've received it, that would be awesome. We just want to, always verify. We never know with technology when the links are cooperating and when they're not. So if you could put a yes in the chat if the link works for you, that would be great. And then you want to tell us so that your VIP gift is your downloadable.
Yes, it's a copy of it's an audio copy of my book, Teacher of the Year, where I explain the perils and the problems and the pitfalls of teaching and all the great things about burnout. But I also give you steps on how to get out of it, how to get the life you want on your terms. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and so what are your final words for us?
Wow, my
Kendria?
final words are for all the women that are listening to the sound of my voice, make sure that your values are respected. If you've ever been devalued, if you've ever felt like you walked into a room and people don't listen to you or that you're not being heard, make sure you understand that it is your responsibility to protect your peace, to protect your time, to protect your freedom, because your worth and your value is not negotiable.
Absolutely, Kendria. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us today. We are happy to have you. And so I don't see can somebody let us know if the downloadable gift link is working? Okay. Well, let me see here. Okay, and so we have I think like 1 or 2 more minutes here.
Okay.
Anything else that you would like to share?
In the next 2-3 months, I will be having my own television show where I will be interviewing anyone who wants to come on and talk about the problems in education. But I don't want to talk about just problems. I want my show to be about solutions to the educational crisis. Teachers do not need excuses to leave the classroom. They do not need excuses. We all know what the problems are in the education. What we do need, however, are solutions to keep people in the classroom. Not very many things keep me up at night, but thinking about the future of education without qualified, enthusiastic teachers who love what they do, who are good at what they do, losing those teachers worries me for the children of the future, classrooms of the future. Yes, I know robots are taking over, but they have to be programmed by someone, right? So those are the things that I do. I talk about as a coach and as a speaker. I go around and I talk about what can we do to fix some of the issues in education. Okay. Speaking of, and speaking as a person who was down and out, I tell you, I was on my last year. If it wasn't for that situation, like you said, it had to happen that way in order to get me to wake up to the fact that I need to pay attention. I need to pay attention. I need to take care of me. I need to take care of me. But if it wasn't for that journey, I wouldn't be here. So because of that, a book, a workshop, a TV show, and being on this wonderful stage, talking to great people like yourself.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kendria, for
Thank
all that you do in this world and the impact that you're making. I know I appreciate you and all of the the women on the summit as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing session of the Voices of Women Summit, where our mission is to raise the voices of hundreds of women so their messages can be heard. For recordings of all sessions, plus an amazing VIP gift bundle, upgrade to VIP now. If you have any questions or problems during the summit, email our support team at support@voicesofwomensummit.com. Stay tuned. We have another fantastic speaker coming right up.